Let's talk about a wood shop. So I had an acquaintance tell me today that they were someone I'm just getting to know. Tell me that they would like to do more woodworking and they're just getting into it. They're really young, and I said, "Cool, let's we'll talk more." So that made me think. You know what did I do, and maybe that'll give others ideas. And I'm not saying what I did is perfect, but it's worked out well for me. So first of all, how big a wood shop do you really need? Well, it depends on how big of items you're building. Now, for the most part, I'm building smaller items. Sometimes I'm doing little end tables um, and smaller items. Once in a while, I do a bigger item, but I might build it in pieces and put it together on site, like a bed or something like that, or a couch. It's all one piece at a time. Move it to on site and then put it together. The gazebo. The gazebo that I did some videos on recently, the whole thing was built in here. But one piece at a time. After one piece was done, oiled, it was moved to the house basement, stacked up. I had a big stack before I started putting it together. So, all in all, where I actually do most of my work is probably only 15 by 20. Not that big, and a lot of it, even that is wood storage. A lot of it's still wood storage. Right here, a bunch of wood storage. Do I need that much wood in here? Probably not. But, if you're changing what you're doing all the time, you end up, you use this for that, and you want certain types for this other thing. And so you have to figure out what your goals are and what you think you're going to be doing. Because it's a guess. You may start doing one thing and end up doing another thing. But you want some flexibility too. For me, so the base, it's not concrete. I started with a gravel. First, I had this area flattened out. It was a kind of a hillside. Had someone come in. Turns out I rented a backhoe, a little one, kind of a toy backhoe. It wouldn't even touch this ground. It was a joke. I couldn't do it. Had someone coming in with a big one, leveled off the area. Then they brought me in some gravel, a few loads of gravel. Of course, I paid. And then after that, I laid some treated 2x6s down. And then I did treated 2x6 floor joists. And then I did treated plywood. And that was my base. And it stayed pretty good. I think this corner might have went down a little bit, but that's where I give all the wood stove here. So I'm not sure. I have a hunch it did a little bit, but it's not really noticeable. I think I can feel it sometimes, but I'm not positive either. It might be something I was just worried about and it's in my head. Then I put, and this was, I think, unique. So you have treated plywood. We're looking at it sideways. You have treated 2x6s on end like this. Treated plywood. 1.5 inch of blue foam insulation. The sheets. Although I did do the walls first. I'm sorry. I probably should have mentioned that. I did all the exterior walls and put the roof on. Then I came in and put down the 1.5 inch blue sheets. And then I took 3/4 inch yellow pine tongue and groove, screwed through the blue into the treated plywood. And that's my floor. So my floor is sandwiched. Right below my floor is the insulation. And then my feet, it cushioned a little bit, but my feet still got sore. And when my friend was selling his wrestling mat, I purchased it, laid that one down. I think it's a 10 by 10, and then called the same company who made it, because I knew who made it, because I had bought one too for the basement, and had them make me some special shapes. So now I have, where my main work area is, I have wrestling mat. So it's so comfortable. I love it. Yeah, it gets lots of sawdust on. The main thing is you don't want to drop a board on it and have the board hit edgewise or pointwise, because then it could puncture it. I've had some close calls, but I don't think I have any punctures in it. But that's one thing you gotta be careful of. So so you don't need a big wood shop, and I think insulation is important, because a small wood stove, you get it going, and 3 days later you come out and it's not that cold out here, and it heats up quick. So having it all insulated, I think I did 2x6 walls with insulation, but maybe I did 2x4s. I honestly don't remember at this point. I probably could look back on photos. And then I went around the whole inside and the ceiling with 3/4 inch hemlock tongue and groove. So it was a lot of work, but just look at it. I mean, and it's full of dust and cobwebs right now, but it still looks awesome. Still looks great. So that's how I constructed a wood shop. But honestly, you want it comfortable, and you want it to fit you and to fit what space you have. So then the next thing is, do you put in a massive air system? I thought I was going to put one in. And then I started looking into it, and I started using the wood shop, and I said, you know what? I don't want these tubes running all over. And besides, it really bothers me anyway, so I have to use a mask. So yeah, maybe if I had an air system, I wouldn't get to pile up like this. But the way I look at it, okay, so I get to pile up. I'll have to shop vac it from time to time and clean it up. Wearing a mask, all the time wearing a mask anyways. But that's up to you to decide. So the other thing is placement. You have to think about it ahead of time, because you want your electrical outlets to accommodate your placement of tools. So I had done a drawing layout, I think, at one point. I knew I wanted a radial arm. I knew I wanted a table saw. I knew I wanted a bench. I even had a lathe by then. I knew I wanted I already had this too. I had a bunch of the tools already, so it was a matter of laying out what I already had. The biggest dilemma I had at the time was, how do I get electrical to my table saw? Because I don't want it against the wall. So I ended up coming up with the idea, I'm going to make a board, which is hidden by sawdust right there. I'm going to I'm just going to cut it out. I'm going to cut a groove in it, and I'm going to run a nice, tough electrical cord over to the wall, over to here, and then up to my table saw, and have it so it loops around so I can just plug it in. Turns out, not only can I plug in my table saw there, I can unplug it. At the end of the day, I always unplug it. Just one of those things I've gotten a habit into. But if I get the little router table, set it up on here, plug that into the same one. Want to do my planer, which is buried right now, right there it is. Same thing, set it up on here, plug it in. So that turned out to be really helpful, having just that one heavy cord running over. For me, I'm not doing big stuff, so for me, I like having the radial arm right here. I put my lumber here, I pick it up, I cut it, and then I might put it in another spot. Like for right here, I didn't have any other place to put it, so I put it on top of my planer. And then I put the pieces that I'm going to cut up into kindling wood back here, because that way I can cut them. So you want things convenient, but you don't want to be piling stuff up on here when you're using it, because it vibrates and it decreases, it's less safe. You know, things might fall down and hit the blade. So I try to keep this clean when I'm actually using it. Now, if I'm using the radial arm, then yeah, I'll pile stuff on my table saw. And when I'm using the table saw, I'll pile it on the radial arm. So they both can become nice work surfaces. So not only are they nice cutting tables, they're nice work surfaces. The other thing I was fortunate is my brother got some bowling alley. So I flipped it upside down. The original side was under here now. And this is the bottom. And did a bunch of sanding and bordered it with wood and did a top for here, did a top for the table, a top for over there. I can't remember. Oh yeah, a big top there, I think. And actually, and I think another top over here. So, and another one over there. Yeah, so I did a bunch of tops. And yeah, the wood shop is a mess, but it's a working wood shop. And I totally enjoy working out here. Okay, so it doesn't happen overnight. This was years and years of a little bit here, a little bit there, because it's a hobby. I wasn't making money doing this. It was a hobby, and I was building our house and everything else. So very rewarding for me, and I think it can be for others too. Yeah, I do need to get doing some cleaning now. Okay, that's my little 2 cents on wood shop as that's one option. The only thing I might have done different is after putting the gravel down, I might have had some crushed stone brought in. And then if I had access to the countertop material, I might have put some flat ones down and then run the 2x6s laying down and then the 2x6s upright. And that's all treated. That's all treated. Okay, just food for thought. I'm going to call it a night.